Today on FSI, we are going to be breaking down the Buffalo Bills and the Kansas City Chiefs from a betting perspective. Now, we're currently 35-14 in our official moves on Twitter, so make sure you're following that account. I'm your host, Tom Cross, and to my right is our analytics expert, Stephen Boom.
Thanks for tuning in this week. The Bills are on the road as a 2.5 point underdog. They're plus 125 on the money line, and the Chiefs, they're minus 145.
Now, in this game, weather does not play that much of a factor. Both teams are cold weather teams. I am surprised by the Chiefs only being a 3-point favorite. I would expect this to be -5 or 6. It does seem like a little bit like a trap, but the health of Patrick Mahomes was up in the air, so the spread actually might go up to around 4 or 5 by game time. Obviously, if Mahomes has a good week of practice, his toe's not hurting him, and his concussion is obviously, taken care of.
The Buffalo Bills and the Chiefs will be playing for the second time this season. Now, in the first matchup, they held Josh Allen to a season low of 122 passing yards. Now, the Bills, however, are one of the hottest teams in the NFL. They haven't lost a single game since their bye week, which includes 8 straight wins and covering every game against the spread.
Patrick Mahomes' health is the biggest story of this game. Not only is it with his head, which will be fine, because you gotta look, back in the 90s and the early 2000s, quarterbacks played with concussions all the time. It's just that we're in this new little millennial era, that we gotta sit the guy out because he has a concussion. But I doubt the NFL, they love money more than they love Patrick Mahomes, I can tell you that. So they're going to put him out there. But the thing to really look at is his turf toe. You could obviously see there was a visible problem with him throwing the ball and being able to move his hips in the pockets with his toe. So the biggest thing for me is how healthy does he look in warm-ups and how is he throwing that ball. But at the end of the day, Patrick Mahomes is almost unstoppable when he's playoff Mahomes and he runs like crazy and makes plays all over the field. So obviously, I feel like Mahomes, if healthy, will have extremely great success against this Bills defense.
Josh Allen has put together an impressive 8-game winning streak. Through that span, he had 19 passing touchdowns and only 3 interceptions. But last week, he didn't play that well. He only had 200 passing yards and 1 touchdown. And on the offensive side of the ball, they only generated 10 points overall last week.
For the Kansas City offensive line, Mitchell Schwartz. Where is this guy? He's supposed to be back 3 weeks ago. Is he going to come back for this game or not? Because if he does come back, I expect there to be none pressure by the Bills' weak defensive line. Patrick Mahomes will have all day in the pocket. So obviously advantage to Kansas City.
The Buffalo pass protection has done a pretty good job this season. They only allowed 27 sacks and 596 pass attempts. But over the last 2 weeks, they haven't done that well. They've given up 2 sacks in each of the playoff games. But luckily for them, the Chiefs' pass rush is pretty terrible. They only get to the quarterback about 5% of the time.
Tyreek Hill is probably the most unguardable receiver in the league because he has great hands, he's super fast, and he runs routes properly. Now, they are going to be getting back Sammy Watkins, who is not that big of a factor, but he is a luxury to have out there. They are going to be facing a very tough Bills secondary that's playing with a lot of confidence. But don't get that twisted. They got burnt by the Colts. Phillip Rivers actually played the game of his life against them, and I don't see why Mahomes wouldn't torch him either. So, advantage here for the Chiefs.
The Buffalo Bills have 2 very dangerous receivers. Both of them finished with over 1,000 receiving yards, and Stephon Diggs actually led all receivers with 1,700 yards. He also has the most targets for this Buffalo Bills offense. Now, Cole Beasley, he has been dealing with a knee injury, and he actually didn't record a single reception last week against the Baltimore Ravens.
The Chiefs can run the ball when Patrick Mahomes is in the game. Now, if Chad Henne is playing the game, they cannot run the ball. The threat of Patrick Mahomes is a lot like Aaron Rodgers. You just spread out the field when he's on the field, and that obviously opens up the run game. They're getting Clyde Edwards-Helaire back, so that's going to be a huge advantage for them in this game because the Bills cannot run the ball to save their life. Now, when you look at the Bills' rush defense, it is horrible. So do not be surprised to see Kansas City start out the game running the rock, because it's going to take a lot of pressure off Mahomes, and it's also going to put the Bills in a tough situation.
The Buffalo Bills do not have any consistency with their running offense. They haven't had over 100 rushing yard game in either one of their playoff games, and that doesn't seem like it's going to change because they throw twice as much as they do with running.
Throw the offenses out the door. This game is going to be about defense, okay? Now, when we look at the Buffalo Bills, they cannot stop the run, but they're good at pass defense. And they also get no pressure on the quarterback. That is overall not a good situation for a well-balanced team like Kansas City. Now, when you look at Kansas City on the defensive side of the ball, they don't obviously stop the run well either, but the Bills don't run the ball well either. Also, the one thing that Kansas City does do is they get pressure. And they have a lot of quality cornerbacks if they're all healthy. So they're actually built to get pressure on the quarterback and stop the pass. While the Bills are obviously built to stop the pass, but they can't do much other than that. So Kansas City will be able to run the ball and get pressure on the quarterback, as well as have Mahomes and all those wide receivers. There's a very strong possibility that Kansas City will be in the Super Bowl.
I think the Buffalo Bills have a great shot of heading to the Super Bowl. The way their offense is designed, they can compete with this Chiefs offense. They're all about that passing. And this will also be the easiest defense to fit at least all playoffs. I think the perfect move here might be taking them on the money line. The Bills' money line is the move here.
Weather. It is the huge factor this week in both games. So remember, we can't predict that. PEDs, injury report. So make sure you're following our Twitter for our official moves. We're 35-14 there. Now, that's it for us. Do us a favor and smash the like button and subscribe. Tell us who you'll be taking in the comments below.
We don't care about favorite teams here. Our focus is on making you money. Follow our social media on Twitter, Instagram, or our webpage. The links are below.